The city was silent. Broken towers stood like the bones of a giant beast, their edges blackened from fire and war. Smoke still rose from the ground, and the sky was gray with dust. It had once been a proud alien city, but now it was nothing more than ruins. A human soldier named Cole walked carefully through the rubble, his boots crunching on shattered glass and burned stone. His visor scanned the area for signs of life. His mission was simple: search the ruins for technology or survivors, nothing more. Suddenly, his scanner beeped. He moved toward a half-collapsed building. Something was there, alive, small, and hiding. Cole raised his rifle and stepped inside. He pushed aside a broken metal door and pointed his light into the shadows. There, curled up behind a pile of debris, was a tiny alien girl. Her skin was pale blue with soft lines glowing faintly across her cheeks. She looked very young. Maybe 9 or 10 in human years. She was trembling, hugging her knees, her large violet eyes filled with fear. When the light touched her, she gasped and tried to crawl away. "No, please. No, hurt me," she cried in a shaky voice. "Please." Cole lowered his weapon slightly, surprised. She looked more like a scared child than a threat. Before he could say anything, a loud voice echoed behind him. "Step away from the fugitive, human. That creature is wanted by order of the High Council." 3 alien guards in dark armor entered the building. Their weapons were aimed directly at the girl. She screamed and ran toward Cole, grabbing his leg and hiding behind him. "Please don't let them take me," she sobbed. "They kill my family. They lie. I do nothing." Cole looked down at her, then back at the guards. Something in her voice, something honest, made him pause. One of the guards stepped forward. "She carries dangerous knowledge. Hand her over." But Cole didn't move. He looked at the girl again. Her thin arms shook as she held his leg. She was terrified. He had seen fear many times before, but never like this. Not from a child, not from someone so small. "She's just a kid," Cole said quietly. "She's not armed. She's not a threat." "That's not your decision," the guard replied. "Move aside." There was a long silence. Dust floated in the air. Even the broken walls seemed to hold their breath. Then Cole did something no one expected. He raised his weapon, not at the girl, but at the guards. "No," he said. "She stays with me." The guards froze. "You dare defy the council?" Cole didn't blink. "I follow orders, but I also follow my conscience, and I won't let you take her." The girl looked up at him, eyes wide in shock. And in that moment, something changed. This wasn't just a soldier protecting a child. This was the beginning of something bigger, something the galaxy wouldn't forget. Cole moved fast. The moment he raised his weapon at the alien guards, he knew there was no turning back. The little alien girl clung to his leg as the guards shouted and tried to surround him. One of them raised his blaster. Cole didn't wait. He fired first, a stun shot hitting the closest guard square in the chest. The alien dropped with a loud thud. The others shouted in their language and opened fire. Cole grabbed the girl and rolled behind cover. A beam of energy hit the wall where they'd been standing just seconds ago. Dust filled the air again. "Hold on tight," Cole shouted. The girl didn't speak. She just nodded and buried her face against his chest as he carried her. Cole ran out the back, dodging through broken halls and crumbling walls. His legs moved on instinct, trained by years of combat, but his mind raced. What had he just done? Had attacked soldiers from an allied alien faction. That was a serious offense. He could be arrested, he could be discharged. Worse, this might start a conflict between humans and the local alien rulers. But deep down, something told him this was the right thing to do. She was a child, and she was afraid. He couldn't leave her behind. Outside, the sun was setting. The sky turned orange and red over the ruined city. Cole made his way through the ruins toward an old shuttle drop point, still carrying the girl. His communicator buzzed. "Cole, what are you doing?" It was his team leader's voice. "We just got word you assaulted alien guards. What's going on?" Cole pressed a button and replied quickly. "They were about to kill a child. I'm taking her out. We'll talk later." "Are you insane? That's not our mission. You're risking everything." Cole turned off the communicator. He couldn't argue now. He reached a narrow alley between two wrecked buildings and ducked inside. There, hidden behind rusted metal, was an old underground storage hatch. He had seen it earlier during the sweep and guessed it might still lead somewhere safe. He pulled it open and climbed down with the girl. Inside, it was dark and cold. Broken lights flickered overhead. Cole used a small flashlight to guide them through the tunnel. At last, they reached a small room that looked like an old medical supply station. He set the girl down gently on a bench. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly, hugging herself. "Thank you," she whispered. "They would have killed me." Cole crouched beside her. "Why are they after you? What did you do?" "I don't know everything," she said, tears in her eyes. "But my parents were scientists. They found something bad. They told me to run and hide. Before they were gone, they gave me this." She reached into her small bag and pulled out a glowing crystal, about the size of a thumb. "They said, protect it. It shows the truth." Cole stared at the crystal. He didn't know what it meant yet, but he was sure of one thing now. This wasn't just a rescue. This was a mission. The hidden medical room was quiet. Only the soft hum of a damaged light echoed in the corner. Cole sat on a metal box, watching the small alien girl, Nyari, as she held the glowing crystal in her hands. She looked tired, but there was something strong in her eyes now, a kind of quiet courage. Cole leaned forward. "What is that thing? What truth does it show?" Nyari looked up. "My parents worked for the council. They studied history, war, and energy systems. One day they told me, the war didn't start like they said. It wasn't the enemy who attacked first." Cole's eyes narrowed. "You mean the council lied?" Nyari nodded. "They wanted power, so they destroyed one of their own cities and blamed the other side. Then the war began." Cole sat back slowly, stunned. "And this crystal? It proves it?" "Yes," Nyari whispered. "It has a recording. My parents stole it from a meeting. That's why the guards came. They killed my parents. I ran." She hugged the crystal to her chest. Cole felt a knot in his chest. Everything made sense now. The way the guards reacted, the fear in Nyari's voice. The crystal was more than just evidence. It was a threat to those in power. He stood and checked his communicator. Signals were everywhere. Drones were scanning the ruins. Patrols were searching. They were looking for him and for Nyari. "We can't stay here," Cole said. "They'll find us." Nyari looked up. "Where will we go?" He thought for a moment. Then he remembered an old relay tower to the east. It was once used by both humans and aliens to send emergency messages. It was shut down now, but it still had power. "If I can get that recording out to the galaxy, everyone will know the truth," he said. Nyari nodded, her voice soft but steady. "That's what my parents wanted. They wanted people to know." Cole helped her to her feet. "Then we'll finish what they started." He gave her one of his water packs and some food. She took small bites, still watching him with careful eyes. "Why are you helping me?" she asked after a moment. Cole paused. "Because someone has to. And because you're just a kid who lost everything, that's not right." Nyari gave a small grateful smile. Outside, the scanners buzzed louder. Cole looked through a crack in the wall. Lights in the sky. They were coming. He checked his weapon, then looked at Nyari. Time to move. She nodded and grabbed his hand. Together, they slipped into the darkness of the tunnels, holding on to the one thing that could change everything, the truth. And behind them, the hunt began again. The night grew darker as Cole and Nyari moved through the underground tunnel. Above them, patrol ships hovered and searchlights passed over the city ruins. Drones flew low, scanning every corner. They were being hunted, not just by the alien guards, but now even by some human forces. Cole's communicator crackled again. This time it was his team commander, Captain Reeve. "Cole, listen to me. You're making things worse. The girl is not your responsibility. Hand her over now. That's an order. Cole pressed the button slowly. I can't do that, sir. She has proof of something dangerous. I've seen enough to know she's telling the truth. You'll lose everything for this, the captain warned. You'll be labeled a traitor. Then so be it, Cole replied. He switched the communicator off. Nyari looked up at him. Are they your friends? They were, Cole said quietly. But not anymore. They reached the end of the tunnel. Cole pulled back a rusted panel, revealing a path that led outside the city. Far in the distance, on a lonely hill, stood the old relay tower, still glowing faintly. That's where we're going, Cole said. If we can upload your crystal, the galaxy will see the truth. Nyari nodded. But they'll try to stop us. I know, he said. That's why we won't go alone. Cole tapped on a different device, his private signal beacon. It connected only to a few people, trusted allies who didn't work for the government anymore. They were called the Gray Strikers, a small team of former soldiers and pilots who worked in the shadows, helping where others wouldn't. He sent out one message. Need help. Sending truth. We're not the enemy. Minutes passed. Then a reply came. Coordinates received. We're coming. Relief washed over Cole, but it didn't last. The sky above lit up as two scout ships spotted them. Beams of light swept the area. A loud voice shouted through a speaker, Stop! You are under arrest! Cole grabbed Nyari's hand. Run! They raced through the old path as blasts hit the ground around them. Cole fired back, aiming to disable the ships. One crashed into a building. The other kept following. Suddenly, Nyari stopped running. Her eyes widened. I can do something, she said. She pulled out the crystal and held it up. It began to glow brighter. A strange sound filled the air, like a song and a whisper at the same time. A large hologram appeared above them. It showed a dark room, filled with alien leaders. A hidden recording played, voices speaking of bombing their own city, of blaming the other side, of starting the war to gain power. The scout ship stopped. Its pilot stared at the image, frozen in shock. Cole turned to Nyari, amazed. You activated it? I didn't know I could, she said, her hands shaking. But I just thought of what my mother said. The truth will protect you. Cole nodded. Then we're almost there. As the hologram continued to play in the sky, they ran toward the tower, and this time, the truth was leading the way. The old relay tower stood like a silent giant on the hilltop. Its metal frame was rusted and cracked, but the lights on its control panel still blinked faintly, just enough power left. Cole and Nyari reached the entrance, breathing hard. Behind them, the hologram had faded, but they knew the enemy was still coming. We don't have much time, Cole said as he checked the controls. If I can connect the crystal, I might be able to send the video across public channels. Nyari handed him the crystal. Will they believe it? They have to, he replied. It's real and it's powerful. Just then a loud sound echoed in the distance, engines fast and heavy. Cole looked up. 3 armored transport ships were heading toward the tower. One of them had the symbol of the Alien Council. The others were human. Great, Cole muttered. Now we're being hunted by both sides. He activated the main console. Sparks flew as the old system came to life. A screen showed a message. Ready for uplink. Begin transmission? Cole inserted the crystal. The screen lit up. The hologram appeared again, clearer this time. Leaders discussing their plan. One of them laughing as he said, They'll never know it was us. Nyari stood beside Cole watching. Her small hands were clenched into fists. She wasn't afraid now. She looked strong, like her parents must have been. Cole hit send. The system began to transmit. Across satellites, old networks, and forgotten stations, the truth spread like fire. A message flashed. Broadcast reaching 137 systems, then 214, then 309. But outside, the enemies had landed. Soldiers marched toward the tower. Weapons raised. A voice shouted through a speaker, Surrender now. This is your final warning. Cole raised his blaster and stood in front of Nyari. I'm not letting them erase this. Suddenly, ships appeared in the sky, fast, sharp, and painted gray. The gray strikers had arrived. One of their ships fired at the enemy transports, forcing them to pull back. A voice crackled through Cole's earpiece. Hey, soldier, looks like you picked a fight worth joining. It was Jax. Cole's old squad mate Jax's ship dropped a small squad of fighters to hold the line. Cole smiled. You're just in time. Inside the tower, the transmission hit 500 systems. A final message appeared. Upload complete. Backup stored in public archives. Cole turned to Nyari. It's done. She looked up at him. We did it? He nodded. The whole galaxy knows now. Outside, the enemy forces were retreating. Some had even dropped their weapons. The truth had broken their lies. People were beginning to question everything. Nyari walked to the window and looked out at the sky. I hope my parents can see this, she whispered. Cole placed a hand on her shoulder. They'd be proud. But he knew it wasn't over yet. Because even when the truth is revealed, justice still takes a fight. Days passed. The galaxy had changed. The broadcast reached thousands of systems. People everywhere watched the hidden recording of the alien leaders plotting war. Many were shocked. Some refused to believe it at first. But as more evidence spread, the truth could no longer be denied. Protests began across planets. Citizens from different species, human and alien, stood together, demanding justice. And finally, the Galactic Peace Council called for a public trial. Cole and Nyari were invited to speak. The trial was held on Station Varel, a neutral place known for fairness. The Great Hall was filled with leaders, soldiers, reporters, and common people. Everyone waited to hear from the small alien girl who had carried the truth, and from the human who had protected her. Cole stood tall in front of the council, dressed in a simple uniform. He wasn't there as a soldier now. He was there as a witness. Next to him, Nyari wore clean clothes given by the peacekeepers. Her small hands were shaking, but her eyes stayed strong. One of the judges, a tall being with silver skin, spoke gently. Nyari, tell us what happened. Nyari stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but clear. My name is Nyari. My parents were scientists. They found proof that the war was started by leaders from our own side. They didn't want the truth to come out, so they destroyed everything, even my family. I ran. I was alone. Until the human, Cole, found me and saved me. She took a deep breath. We shared the recording, because people deserved to know. The hall was silent. Then Cole spoke. I didn't know the whole story at first, he said. I just saw a scared child who needed help. But as I listened, I understood that saving her wasn't just about kindness. It was about doing what's right, even when it's not easy. He looked around the hall. I broke orders. I stood against both sides. But I would do it again. Because truth matters. And this girl is braver than any soldier I've met. The council reviewed the recording. Again, experts confirmed it was real. Names were matched, voices identified, and lies uncovered. In the end, the council stood and announced their decision. The evidence is true. The war was started by betrayal. The leaders responsible will face justice. And Nyari is innocent. A wave of relief filled the room. Some people clapped. Others cried. Nyari smiled, tears running down her face. Cole gently placed a hand on her shoulder. But then something unexpected happened. One of the council members stood and said, Human Cole, for your courage and loyalty to truth, the council offers you a reward. Anything within reason. Everyone waited for his answer. But Cole looked down at Nyari, then back at the council. I don't want a reward, he said. All I want is for her to live in peace. The room fell silent. And in that moment, the human shocked them all once again. The grand hall remained silent after Cole's words. He had refused money. He had refused power. He didn't want medals or praise. All he asked for was peace for one small alien girl who had once begged for her life. The council members looked at one another, surprised. One of them, an older human general, finally said, "You could have asked for anything." Cole smiled slightly. "I already have everything I need." Nayari stood beside him, holding his hand tightly. She couldn't speak, but her eyes said, "It all." For the first time since her world fell apart, she felt safe. Later that evening, a quiet ceremony was held on the same station. The names of Nayari's parents were added to the Wall of Truth, a place where the galaxy honored those who risked their lives to protect honesty and peace. Cole and Nayari stood in front of it, together. "I think they would be proud," she whispered. "They definitely would," Cole replied. Across many planets, news channels told the story of the tiny alien girl and the human who saved her. People who had never met began sharing her name. Nyari became a symbol of hope. Children across the stars heard her story and believed that even the smallest voice could be powerful if it spoke the truth. But not everyone was happy. Some of the old leaders still held on to power in secret places. They had lost control, but not their hatred. Cole knew the fight wasn't over completely. Evil didn't disappear just because truth was spoken. But now the galaxy had seen what was possible when people stood together, and more importantly, when someone chose to do the right thing, even if no one else would. 1 week later, Cole stood at the edge of a quiet valley on a peaceful planet. He had chosen to leave the army. No more wars, no more orders. He had bought a small home near the trees and rivers, far from the noise of politics. Nyari ran across the grass, laughing for the first time in a long while. She had new clothes, clean shoes, and a room full of books and soft blankets. Cole watched her play and smiled. She came back to him and asked, "Are we safe now?" He nodded. "Yes, for now. And if danger comes again, we'll face it together." She hugged him tightly. From across the valley, birds flew, and the sky turned golden as the sun began to set. The galaxy was still broken in many ways, but in this small corner of it, a human and a once-lost alien girl had found peace, and their story became a lesson to all. Kindness is stronger than fear. Truth is stronger than lies. And sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who protect the smallest lives.